All right, good morning. We're going to get started here. I'm Jay Alberstadt. I am the solicitor for the Higher Ed Building Authority. And why don't we just go around and introduce who we are here? This is Jennifer.
Sure. I'm Jennifer Lundy. I'm the Vice President for Finance and Campus Operations at Gannon University.
I'm Lily Fritz. I'm an intern at McDonald's right now.
Richard Mikowski. I'm the Chief Investment Officer at Evident Financial.
Kaz Kwiatkowski, City Treasurer.
Melvin Witherspoon, President, Erie City Council.
All right, we're going to go into the public hearing. This is required by federal law anytime you do tax-exempt financing under the Internal Revenue Code. And I'll give the mandatory spiel here. The City of Erie Higher Education Building Authority is holding a public hearing for the benefit of the Mayor of the City of Erie pursuant to the requirements of the Internal Revenue Code in connection with the proposed financing of a project for the benefit of Gannon University, a Pennsylvania nonprofit corporation, and a 501c3 tax-exempt organization. Following the introduction of the project, members of the public will be given the opportunity to comment. The proper notice of this public hearing was published in the Erie Times News on January 12, 2025. The project consists of the issuance by the authority of $14 million maximum aggregate principal amount of its revenue bonds, the proceeds of which will be applied by Gannon University toward the current refunding of all or a portion of the authority's revenue bonds series of 2013 outstanding in the approximate principal amount of $10,450,000, the payment or reimbursement to the university for construction, renovating, or equipping various facilities on its main campus in furtherance of its educational purposes, the funding of any required reserves and interest payable during construction, if applicable, and the payment of the costs of issuance of the bonds. All facilities financed by the authority bonds and included in the project will be owned and operated by the university. The bonds will not create a pledge or credit of the taxing power of the City of Erie. And at this point, we would have any comments from the public. Were there any members of the public here? But there are not. So we typically would just close the public hearing at this point. And then if the board members have any questions about the project, we'll talk about that when we get to it on the agenda. So close the public hearing, and then we'll move on to the agenda and the meeting of the authority. We can call the meeting to order. We do have a quorum. 5 of the 7 available members are present, which are all of the members currently in office. Again, we are obligated under state law to offer an opportunity for public comment at the meeting. No public is here, so there will not be any of that either. And the first matter on the agenda is the election of officers. It's been some time since the authority has met. Officers' terms have expired. Des was reappointed. Richard and Katrina have been appointed as members, and Kaz and Mel serve by virtue of their public offices as the President of Council and the City Treasurer. I proposed a slate of officers, which is not carved in stone, but made sense to me based on the availability of folks to sign bond documents when that day comes. Typically, the bond documents are signed by the chair or vice chair and the secretary or an assistant secretary. So our traditional game plan has been to have a chair and a secretary and designate everybody else as an assistant secretary and a vice chair. So we've got 5 opportunities to find somebody to sign things when the moment occurs. So the proposed slate, again, anybody can decline or nominate someone else that I put together, was Mel as chair, Kaz as secretary treasurer, Des, Katrina, and Richard as vice chair and assistant secretary treasurer. Anybody have any other nominations they'd like to make? And if not, would someone like to make a motion to move that slate of officers?
So moved.
Is there a second?
Second.
It's moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations. So Mel, now you're wearing two hats, President of Council and Chair of the Authority. Thank you. And we'll move on to then the Gannon project, which requires a vote. You have a resolution attached to your agenda that has been prepared by Bond Counsel, which is Ballard Spar out of Pittsburgh, that just outlines the project in greater detail. But again, 14 million, the bulk of it for a current refunding of the 2013 issue, the rest of the money either for project costs or for some capital improvements to the Gannon campus. Anybody have any questions about either the project, the finance portion of it, or anything that Jennifer might be able to answer for you?
Will there be a
Tim, do we
few?
have anything on the terms on it, how long?
Jennifer, what are they looking at in terms of the?
It's wrapped into our current amortization schedule
On the 13 issue?
on all of our issues, our collective issues. The longest one runs out 30 years, I believe, from 2021.
Right.
So it keeps it level within that.
Right.
And we did talk about the potential savings being in the $600,000 to $700,000 range over the life.
Yes, that would be the present value of
Present
savings.
value of the savings.
Will there be a future opportunity for an additional round of refinancing? Let's say if interest rates were to drop, is that?
So you can refund currently as many times as you want to. There used to also be an opportunity to do what they called advance refundings, where bonds had a no-call period. You couldn't call them yet, but they would let you do the refunding and escrow the money to pay them as the no-call periods expired. They don't let you do advance refundings anymore, but there's an unlimited opportunity to refund currently. So if rates dropped dramatically enough that it made sense, that would be available. If there aren't any other questions, we will need a motion to approve the project.
So move.
And a second.
I'll second.
Second.
Moved and seconded. And all in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? The motion carries. Couple of informational things. Statements of financial interest. Annually, members of municipal authorities have to file a statement of financial interest. Unlike the one that Mel and Kaz filed that ends up going to Harrisburg, when you're an authority member, they simply go into the records of the authority, which is a file folder in my office. But they are for 2024. And so the only members who were in office in 2024, Des was serving on an expired term. I'll get him that. And Kaz, you were serving by virtue of the fact that you were the treasurer and ex officio. So I will get those forms to you. They're due by May 1. And I'll get them to you so that you can get them back to me. And then everybody else will get their turn to file next year for the 2025 year. I'm not aware of any old business sitting out there to be handled. Does anyone have any new business to be brought before the authority? If not, we can entertain a motion to adjourn the meeting.
So move.
And a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
The motion carries. So it's been a bit of a horse race to get us here today, but Mel, I want to thank council for appointing the new members at your last meeting, so we actually had a quorum and could hold this meeting. We will be in front of city council tomorrow night, Mel. There is a requirement for city council to approve the financing as well. So Jennifer and I will be back. You'll see our smiling faces again. Otherwise, Jennifer, congrats, you're up and running.
Thank you, everyone. Appreciate it.